Just checking, so are we online or not? Just a minute. Well, it's a real light now.
Okay.
Well, it's a real light. So, hello everyone. Welcome to this very unique session of Q&A here on this platform of Digital Sarcasm for the very first time. And as we all know that the topic for today, that is how to make a career in taxation law, will be addressed by very experienced Mr. Shubham Vijay sir, who has joined us on our request today. Um, and before starting the session, like I always say, that please ask all your queries on the comment box. And if you're watching the recorded session of this video, then you can mail us your queries at info@legalsarcasm@gmail.com, and we will forward it to sir. So, without much ado, let me introduce sir to one and all. Mr. Shubham Vijay sir is currently a principal associate at Lakshmi Kumaran and Sridharan. He is a 2016 law graduate from RGNLU Punjab. He has facilitated with gold medals and 28 merit certificates for all his academic excellence in the field of law. Sir is currently specializing in indirect tax with 4 years of experience in different industries, including real estate, telecommunication, education, hospitality, tourism, power, healthcare, etc. He has extensively worked with corporates on GST advisory, wherein he has represented clients before the GST councils on pertinent issues such as tax structuring, uh, to determine tax efficiently as well as compliance structure and tax due diligence in his journey from implementation of GST to the representation before the council. His client-focused approach and team management skills has always made any interaction with him an insightful learning experience for both the clients as well as the co-workers. And should be during the session with us. So, sir, I welcome you all. Welcome all of you as well as you, sir, on our platform. And all I can say is that it's an immense pleasure and honor for me and my team to have you here as the keynote addresser for this session. So, sir, I request you to start the session by your words. Over to you, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much for this introduction. That's very kind of you. So the idea of this session was to just like I've taken many sessions in the past, but those were more on the lines that what I feel about the about a career in taxation law. That was my perspective. After that, I thought that it is very pertinent to to take question and answers from the people who are willing to join it, because whatever I know, it's my perspective. So I don't know the real challenges that people may face during opting for tax law. So and it used to happen in those sessions that not all the queries of the participants used to get addressed. So those sessions used to have that limitation. Obviously it had its own advantages, obviously, but yeah, there was this limitation. So with this idea in mind, we thought that it would be great to to start with a Q&A session rather than having a webinar on how to make a career in taxation law. So that was the idea. Before we start with the questions, I'll just give a brief introduction of like why I wanted to take this session, or what are the reasons that we are having this discussion today. As we all know, we live in a country where GST today is a household name. But if we talk about the awareness, there is no awareness. In the sense that not many people know what GST stands for, what is it applicable on, what are the nuances involved when you purchase certain goods, or you avail certain services from market, people often confuse between GST and income tax. Many of them think that GST and income tax probably are the same thing. It becomes really difficult to sometimes make them understand that these are separate branches of law or taxation. Many people even confuse that the service charge that is being levied by restaurants, it's not a tax. They think that this government is levying 10% on restaurant services in addition to GST, which is not true. And there are so many other things. Uh, so the awareness regarding law is so limited that even if any business today charge VAT, service tax, or even all the taxes that are there in GST on a single bill, we will end up paying that because there is no awareness. And if there is no awareness, we can't even dispute it. We simply think that the government is unreasonable. We think that GST is a probably Gabbar Singh tax, and ultimately will end up paying tax. So the point I'm trying to make here is that GST or any tax law, people are not very much aware regarding what is tax. And trust me, it is no different with the business houses in India. It obviously it will be slightly better, but it is same with the business houses in India. They are not ready, or they are not well versed with the tax provisions, and that is why engaging a tax professional becomes important for them. You will never see any business doing without a tax professional. They may hire a internal or in-house legal team, but you'll always see that they have an independent tax professional on their panel. They simply can't do without having a tax professional, and nobody can do. Have you ever seen any person filing his own income tax returns? On the contrary, I've seen many tax professionals, hiring a CA to file their returns. So that much is the awareness that this field has over the layman and the business houses, and that is where the importance of this field lies, because engaging a tax professionals becomes the need of the hour. It has always been so. It will continue to be so. And the side is that the people who are practicing tax law, they are more from the CA field if we compare that with the legal profession. I understand all those reasons. I understand that in law schools, like we only get one or two tax subjects, which is quite insignificant to cover income tax, corporate tax, international tax, GST, customs. ठीक है ना? Forget about other levies. So that is very insignificant, and that is very limited to generate any interest in law students. The first reason is this. Secondly, what tax means to a law school is the same what maths used to mean to schools. People just think that it is as scary as tax. Okay, I don't know what is the real reason behind this, but yes, people have this certain limitation. I'll probably call it a psychological limitation in their mind that probably tax is not their cup of tea. They won't be able to handle all those numbers that it offers. But that's not true. Like the practice that we do as lawyers, it's not about numbers anymore. It's a proper legal branch that involves interpretation, and more often than not, interpretation more than the what other fields require. Unlike any typical corporate work, you won't be asked to work on just due diligence, where there will be no mental application. So on the other hand, taxation is a branch which offers you a comprehensive range of services or deliverables that you can engage in, or that you can offer to the clients. Apart from advisory, there is compliance, there is sufficient litigation. So the engagement that can be of lawyer in terms of tax law, that is not limited to a certain area of practice. it has a 360 degree coverage, and there is no limitation that is a tax lawyer cannot do in comparison to a CA. So that was the idea of having this session, and now I give it to you to ask any questions that are there with respect to the tax law.
All right, sir. To the viewers who are watching us, they can just type their questions in the comment box, and we will be taking them eventually. Sorry. So yes. So in order to initiate this Q&A session, we have prepared a sets of questions, which we will be asking sir to address. And so, if you allow us, shall we proceed with the first question?
Yeah, yeah, please.
All right, sir. So the very first question, sir, is how has career in taxation law evolved in the modern times?
Okay. So to answer with this question, like tax law, it's been a like from the independence, it's been a very widely practiced area. But the involvement of, as I said, lawyers has been CAs has been more have been more than the lawyers. If you look at the income tax law, till now there has been more than 5,000 amendments in income tax laws. If we talk about VAT and entry tax laws, there has been number of litigations which pertains to those matters, because every state used to levy VAT and entry tax, and those provisions used to conflict with each other more often than not. So if you see, GST has consolidated all the indirect tax levies that used to be there, including your VAT, entry tax, excise duty to a large extent, and many other duties. So if we talk about the current perspective, earlier there used to be a limitation that since there used to be so many state levies, so people used to prefer a local council over a council who is sitting in Delhi or Bombay, right? Because whatever laws are there, those used to be local laws, and sometimes if we see, those changes or amendments were not publicized that much that it comes in the knowledge of lawyers practicing outside, and that certain disadvantage that they used to face from the clients. So ultimately clients used to prefer the any counsel who is practicing locally. The other reason was that the authorities dealing with the tax used to be the state authorities as well. So it used to give a slight advantage if you are conversing with them in the local language. So for example, a client sitting in Tamil Nadu will probably prefer a person who knows Tamil really well, right? Because probably any lawyer of any great lawyer and in fact would not probably help his case, because he would probably argue with the authorities in English, and they might not be able to appreciate it as much as they will appreciate that person who is practicing locally.
Sorry for the inconvenience to the viewers. I think there is a technical glitch at sir's end. I'll get it corrected immediately. Just a minute. Okay, so all right, so sir has lost some internet connection over his place, and he'll be reconnecting with us in a minute.
Hello.
Okay, sir, you are audible.
Yeah, I'm really sorry that I lost in between. Uh, so,
Completely fine, sir.
so just before disconnecting, I was just trying to make a point that under the erstwhile tax regime, there used to be a little favor for the local councils, right? So that disadvantage is no longer there. Like GST, as it has consolidated all the laws, it has basically nationalized the tax practice. Okay, as you all know, GST, it's a levy which center and
Yes, sir.
so GST is a levy that center and state, like both of them are levying concurrently. There's a GST council for the administration of it. So in a sense, that whatever GST is being levied, that is same throughout the India, and that is why there is no longer that disadvantage that they need to compulsorily hire a local lawyer. Secondly, now authorities also, like, those authorities are not your the local authorities. In GST, the government can ask any, to regularize or to supervise taxpayers. So you might be sitting in Tamil Nadu, but you may be regulated by the central government under GST. The chances that
It's fine now, sir.
hello,
Yes, sir, it's fine now.
right? So today, as we stand, the tax practice is more nationalized since the time the GST has come. Further, we are expecting direct tax code to kick in. So all of these reasons, like the and also like post COVID, that government is more dominantly looking to change its import export regulations, and it will be continue to be so for the next 5 years, right? So for all of these reasons, we are expecting a growth in the tax practice and the need for the tax professionals. So that is my take on the current situation in taxation practice.
All right, sir. So, sir, if you allow us, can we take the live questions alongside with the questionnaire that we have prepared?
Yeah, yeah, no problem.
All right, sir. So, Anuj Kumar here has asked that people usually prefer to have lawyers having a degree of a chartered accountant along with LLB. So, in that case, how to tackle this issue if one is not having a CA degree and is only having an LLB degree with him?
Okay. So what was the name of the participant who
Anuj
asked?
Kumar, sir.
Anuj. So Anuj, as I said, there are three things in tax practice. There is advisory, that is compliance, that is there is litigation. Okay. So if we see litigation, that can only be handled by lawyers. Any client would prefer lawyers over CAs in handling their litigation. It can be so that that CA may have it LLB degree, but still clients would prefer a counsel who is predominantly a lawyer. Okay. If we talk about compliance, naturally the client will favor a CA over lawyer any day. If we talk about advisory, it's a mix of both lawyers and CA. Okay. So in case you feel that if there is any disadvantage or if there is any added advantage to CAs, you should always know that there's a field, there is a litigation that you can always practice that they cannot. So similarly, where a client prefers any CA who can handle their advisory plus compliance, you will always be preferred where it comes to advisory plus litigation. So it's all about knowing your positives and giving it your best shot. And frankly speaking, I'm more on the advisory side, and I've never faced this problem that any colleague of mine who is a CA is being favored. It's all about, in the end, it's all about how good you are at your work and what command you have over the subjects that you are practicing.
Rightfully said, sir. So, sir, coming on to the question that we have prepared, I actually wanted to add on to the point of the modern times that we were talking about, how taxation laws evolve. So, sir, as we all know that COVID has impacted every industry, even the legal industry, as we can say. So, sir, do you think that it has also impacted the taxation law at some extent?
Acha. Heyman, just tell me two things.
Yes, sir.
Just because of COVID, have we stopped paying GST on any item? Or
No, sir.
forget paying taxes? Have government reduced any sort of GST on any item?
Not actually, sir.
So that is the point. See, due to COVID, a government has not exempted taxpayers from paying GST. They have not even considered to reduce GST on certain items. Okay, there has been no GST council meeting since March on this point. The only relaxation that is there is in terms of compliance, that they have asked taxpayers to chill a bit. They can submit their returns after a certain point of time. Obviously, there has been a significant decline in business transaction or commercial transactions. So people who sought advisory is little.
We have here is what are the essentials one should possess that makes a taxation lawyer a better lawyer?
Okay. Essentials in terms of the academic knowledge or the skills.
Exactly, the academic knowledge as well as the statutes that a person has to go through in order to be a taxation lawyer.
Okay. See, I'll start with the law subjects that you need to master. Then I'll come to simple life skills that you must possess to have a hold at taxation laws. Talking about the subjects, I would definitely say that one should have a good command over contracts. Contracts is a really easy subject that we can master at. See, everything in tax law, particularly in GST or erstwhile VAT and service tax, it flows from a contract, right? Everything revolves around the consideration, the activity that one is performing for the other. And that is really significant, and it is going to help you throughout your tax practice. So it's very important that one should master the your contract law. Secondly, I would say one should also master the constitutional law, right? More often than not, the validity of tax laws are challenged on the ground of constitutionality, on the grounds of that it is ultra vires the act which is prescribing that tax, and on the obviously on the grounds of 14, 19, 21, which is again falls under the ambit of unconstitutionality. So all of this makes it very important that you have a good hold at constitutional law, not just Article 14, 19, 21. You should have a good hold at the legislative powers and the distribution of the powers amongst the center and the states, the doctrines that are involved in that, ठीक है. Doctrines such as colorable legislation or doctrines which provides doctrines such as the doctrine of eclipse and other doctrines. So all of those things you should have a good hold at. Apart from that, Sale of Goods Act is one subject. Consumer Protection Act is one subject. So this is apart from the tax. Like these are the normal subjects that you should master. Obviously, if you are looking to specialize in any particular tax, you should start reading that law. And in order to in order to master that, it will be great if you look at the history of that law. That will really help you to inculcate that interest towards that subject. So this is on the academic front. And talking about the life skills, you should always have a look at the commercial transactions. You should always have a look at the money matters that are happening in your family. For example, if your father is in a business, always try looking and ask him that how he's managing that business. What are the kind of vendors that he's dealing in? What are his customers dealing in? Okay, how is this entire process works? What are the profit margins? What are the operational costs that he is incurring? What is the impact of COVID on him? Okay. Or for example, if there is a friend of yours or is probably relative of yours who is filing his income tax returns, so you can probably get some idea about what are the challenges that he is facing, how much tax he is paying, what are the current government norms. So you should always take interest in monetary matters in your general life. That is one thing that you can do to inculcate interest in taxation law. Second, economics is one subject that you should master in order to appreciate tax laws better. So that is all from my side. Rest of the things you always learn on your job only.
All right, sir. Thanks for the answer. So, sir, we have here Samad Bhatia, and he wants to ask that apart from the syllabus of the college studies, which are the various, what are the various ways to gather more and more information regarding the taxation laws?
Okay. Uh, See, apart from the college, the syllabus which is being taught, see that syllabus will be redundant in a year or so. Tax laws are more prone to amendments and changes more often than not. Okay, so it's very scary to just rely on the academic syllabus. What is more important is to sharpen your basic concepts. You should dwell more into how a levy is being operationalized. Okay, so in order to know that, you should always dwell deeper into the subject, number one. Secondly, you can always pick up a one or two website, or you can subscribe to any journal which provides regular updates in that field of law, right? So that will really help you. And stay in touch with your tax teacher, and always discuss interesting things or the daily life daily things that you come across. Always observe them, try to question your teacher on those fronts. So that will really increase your understanding towards these laws. So
All
just
right,
keep
sir.
updated is the conclusion of this.
All right, sir. So the next question is from Tarun Kumar, and it is exactly the question that I wanted to ask according to our question now to the next question. So the question basically is, how can a person start his or her career in taxation law anytime between the practice or as a law student?
Okay. See, the answer is very generic. It applies to everyone practicing in any field. I always tell law students that, divide your law school into two parts. First 3 years are basically time where you can, give yourself more chances. You can probably explore more things. You should always go for variety of internships. So that is your practice field where you can, try different things out. And by the end of the third year, that is the ideal time. You should know that what really interests you or what really you want to do in life. If you follow this timeline, you'll never be lacking, and you'll be starting your job and whatever you want to do on time, like without any gaps and delays. Fourth and fifth year specifically are that, like that is the period where you can probably specialize in that field. Okay, so I'll always I always tell law students that fourth and fifth years are very crucial in order to expertise in any particular field of law. So by this time you must be clear in your head that what is this that you really want to do. It can be so that you may be interested in more than one things. For example, I was equally inclined towards the corporate laws. I had a job in corporate law as well with one of the leading firms, which I ultimately didn't take up, and I ultimately chose indirect taxation over that. So it is okay that you have interest in more than one field, but then you have to specialize in that one or two area. So your fourth and fifth year internship should be smartly planned, and ultimately you'll have a job by the end of your law school.
All right, sir. So, sir, if you allow me, can I ask a question? Like, what was it particularly that made you incline towards the taxation law more than the corporate law? Since you mentioned that you have worked with a leading law firm also in the corporate field as well.
Okay, so let me tell you that. So I'm not sure like if it's significant with all of you. So see, I came from a small town, right? So all of these coaching centers, they made a hype that NLU चले जाओ, लाइफ सेट है, 5 साल टॉप 5 में चले गए तो इतने लाख का पैकेज होता है. Seriously, the first day I stepped into RGNL Patiala, I realized I know how shattered I was that time. So that reality, that those dreams that those coaching centers used to make me think, or it was it was not there. And अगर मैं आज की भी बात करूं, like even after 4.5 years, it's the same. ठीक है. The reason is simple. The jobs are very limited, the good jobs are very limited, and the law students that are graduating each year, वो काफी ज्यादा है. And people, obviously the law firms in particular, will always prefer top 5 NLUs or top 7 NLUs. ठीक है. So it's always going to be difficult, number one. So coming to your question, so when I stepped into the college, I realized that, bro, college के भरोसे कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. You need to plan your internships, and that is about it. Because when I was in first year, there were hardly 5-7 seniors of mine who were getting placed in good firms. Okay, so I started my corporate internships from the second sem itself. There used to be a substantial time when I used to, which I used to devote in planning my internship applications. Obviously, there used to be lots of rejection. My mail is, even if I search anything today, I ultimately, it turns out that I'm filtering my rejection mails, or I'm deleting them. So many rejections, but the key was that I started it little early. I was clear in my head that I'll be working in a law firm. Which practice area I want to practice in, that I'll figure out later. But it was very clear with me that I am going to be in a law firm. That is my goal. So the point I'm trying to make here is that I planned my internships from the very first year. And by the fourth year, I almost interned at 15 places, 12 or 13 of which was with law firms. Okay. So, and when you are clear with certain thing, you tend to dwell deeper into that. So I learned how these law firms are functioning, what is their business model, what is the lifestyle of people working in, what are the advantages and disadvantages of working in a particular field of law. So my reason why I chose tax law over corporate was this simple. I realized that if I'm a good M&A lawyer, even if I am a good M&A lawyer, probably even after 10 years, I can't handle it. Probably no client will allow me to handle this merger on my own. It will require a set of lawyers. It will require a huge team, and that is the reason that business houses prefer law firms over individual lawyers when it comes to corporate matters. Okay, I was practicing in mergers and acquisition, so I realized that I can never go independent, or the chances of me going independent are slightly less. And this is not something I want to, if that this is not something I see myself after 10 or 15 years. Okay, so tax, on the other hand, it was giving me that liberty, that option, that even after 10 years, if I want to start with my own practice, with my own firm, it will be comparatively easier for me. Secondly, I always had a thing for commercial transactions. I used to, so my father is a business person. He's a businessman. So I never, went to his shop, but all of his monetary matters, the money, whatever investments that he's receiving, whatever expenditure that he's making in his business, whatever taxes he is paying, okay, all of that really used to interest me. So I always had this inclination towards this matters. So I thought probably if I, give it some more time, probably I can do better in this field. And if this does not work out, probably after 2 3 years, I can switch to a corporate team or M&A team. So that was my idea. So the focal point of this answer is that tax law gives you that option that you can go independent after certain time in your practice.
All right, sir. So, sir, if you don't mind, I just want to follow up with that question, like follow up with that answer. Sorry.
No
So,
problem.
sir, as you said that your father was a businessman, so basically, you were also first generation lawyer of your family, if
Yeah.
I'm not wrong. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
sir, being a first generation lawyer, how actually you managed to secure more than 15 internships in your whole 5 years? Because from where we can, like, we are currently in the same scene right now. So where we can find ourselves is that being a first generation lawyer is a like a big disadvantage for everyone. Uh,
Okay.
so scoring internships and securing places in firms, at any firm, I'm not talking about the A-listers or the big law firms here. I'm talking about the even the boutique firms right now. The internship opportunities are very less because of the pandemic also. The interns are like selected on like basis of like one or two students at a time.
Hmm.
So, at your time, how did you actually manage to secure so much internships, and what was your strategy in doing that?
See, यार दो बहुत सिंपल सिंपल चीजें हैं. See, first, it's all about your priorities. Okay, trust me, like more often than not, and it's very unfortunate that we are in an environment where people focus on negatives more. Very true. ठीक है, you will listen people की इंटर्नशिप जो जुगाड़ से लगती है, ये लोग से जुगाड़ से लेते हैं, कोई फायदा है नहीं, like let's do something else. ठीक है, and many other things. ठीक है, there are so many negatives. ठीक है, और probably you will see your batchmate कि यार इसकी तो इस रीजन से लग गई होगी इंटर्नशिप. ठीक है, या स्लॉट्स नहीं है यार, कि हर बार जब अप्लाई करो लूथरा पे तो खुशबू चेस्टर का मेल आ जाता है दैट हमारे पास कोई स्लॉट नहीं है.
Sorry
और
to inform you.
हाँ, और अल्टीमेटली लास्ट में एक लाइन लिखी होती है कि वी विल कीप योर सीवी फॉर आवर रिकॉर्ड्स. ठीक है, तो यार ये चीजें ना काफी लोगों को इम्पैक्ट करती है, these rejections or this negativity. But trust me, first it is all about your priorities. If you are clear in your head that you want to do this thing, you will ultimately find ways to achieve that. First thing. Secondly, we should never fear rejections. Trust me, any successful person fails more than any failed person. So the key is in trying. Okay. So coming to the question that how I managed all these internships, and let me tell you, out of all my internships, there was this only first year internship that I secured through Jugaad. Okay. All of my internships were on my own. Okay. Obviously, I faced a lot of rejections that I just mentioned. See, the idea is there are 2 3 tips, like there used to be 2 3 things that I used to follow. Okay. Firstly, at the start of the semester, I used to buy books, and I used to target firms that this by end of this semester, these are the firms that I'll be targeting. Okay, so those were really clear at the beginning of the semester for me. Okay, I had this chart on my table of those law firms. I used to secure all the contacts, mail ID, and the concerned person, the HR, and all of that. Okay, and once I'm back from the college, the next 2 hours used to be on those follow-ups only. Okay. So the first thing is that start on time, start 5 6 4 5 months at least prior to the your desired duration of the internship, period of the internship. Secondly, follow up. Okay, you can never secure internships by just sending a mail. You need to follow up to them regarding your application. You should always sound very very interested to all the HR managers. At times, like when I was not offered with internship, I used to tell them, then probably you can take an interview and then decide. Okay, or probably you can give me another slot and I'll try to fit in my schedule. So there used to be adjustment that I also used to make, like I used to sacrifice on some of my classes probably, or on my family time. So those sacrifices and adjustments you need to make, but you need to be very open to the HR managers that this is what I'm looking at. Okay, so you should be very persuasive with your follow up applications. That really helped me, and trust me, there will be times, and it happened with me that I'm supposed to start my intern on 1st, but on 21st May I'm not having any internship currently. But trust me, if you are trying for something and you are dedicatedly following up with your application, you will end up with something. Okay, sometimes it may exceed your expectations, sometimes. So when I was in third year, I was first from the batch to secure an internship in Jyoti Sagar Associates. Then I told my batchmates, and then they applied, and they. So that was the first time that they actually realized that they can actually intern at Jyoti Sagar Associates. Okay, so the point I'm trying to make is that there will be some times that you will be getting more than what you expected for. There will be times that you will be interning at a below par place. Okay, but the key is that to keep looking for options, keep trying your best, and do your best in whatever you are getting. So even if you are getting a small size law firm, give it your best shot.
Alex, thanks a lot for the suggestions and your experiences. So, sir, moving on towards the topic, we have some questions from the live viewers. So, sir, Pranali wants to ask whether it is necessary to provide corporate social responsibility expenses in the books of accounts on accrual basis, considering AS 29 provisions, contingent liability, and contingent assets.
Okay. So, okay, I can answer this question, but I am really not sure how is this related to the current topic that we are examining. Okay. So, her question is that CSR expenses, can they be? Can you please repeat the question?
Sir, is it necessary to provide the CSR expenses in the books of accounts on accrual basis, considering AS 29 provisions?
It's not necessary that as per AS 29, it's not necessary that you should only create a provision on accrual basis. It can be based on the real transaction time basis. So there is no such requirement, but most of the corporate houses nowadays, they are doing it on the accrual basis only.
Alexa. So, thanks for the answer, sir. And moving on towards the question now. The next question is, sir, what are the future prospects and options for a person after studying taxation?
Okay. So there are a couple of there are many options, in fact. Okay. So when I discussed about the areas of practice, I discussed that a person can opt for compliance, advisory, and litigation in tax law. So coming to the options, I'll probably bifurcate them into these categories only. So in case you are looking for to practice tax advisory, If it comes to income tax, your WESH associates, AZB partners, uh, and your BMR legal, all of these, and your Nishit Desai associates, all of these are really good options. Okay. If you talk about GST, obviously Lakshmi Kumaran and Sridharan, no one beats that, or no one even comes close to that. So Lakshmi Kumaran and Sridharan is one option that you should definitely look at if you are willing to practice indirect tax laws. Apart from that, there is Advaita Legal, there is PDS Legal, there is ELP, there is Khaitan, who is doing good. There are teams with the Sam and Cam also, but those are really like those teams are really small. Okay. Apart from that, there are certain new age firms that are also coming. So you can probably look at your what is the name of this firm? You can probably look at Sarvada Legal. Okay. You can look at Nitya Tax Associates. Okay. You can probably look at Tatvam Advisors. So these are the few new age firms that are coming. Coming to the compliance part of it, and most of the law students are aware about the opportunities in the compliance. But let me tell you, every year, Big Fours hire a lot of law graduates for their tax practice. Obviously, it will be a mix of CAs and lawyers working over there. Probably the ratio will be more tilted towards the tax lawyers practicing therein, but they do hire law graduates. So obviously, for compliance, from the compliance perspective, your KPMG, your ENY, Deloitte, PwC, Dhruva Advisors, Nangia Advisors, okay, all of these are really good options, okay, and BMR Advisors is also there, and a couple of more firms. So yeah, these are the options that one should really look at. Talking about taxation, like about the litigation in taxation, you can look for certain good senior advocates that are there who practice tax laws. So you can probably look to work with Arvind Datar. You can probably look to work with Sujit Ghosh. You can probably uh, look to work with Tarun Gulati. You can probably look to work with your, I guess I already named JK Mittal. And there are a number of other tax lawyers as well. So if you're looking for litigation, try working with a senior advocate.
All right, sir. Sir, the next question is regarding the GST. So, sir, Deepika Sawant wants to ask: does GST a niche field for an advocate, or CA can get a better hang of?
I guess I already, in a way, answered this question, but
Correct,
just to
sir.
it, yes, see, it's a niche field for, it's a niche field, be it CA or lawyer. Even if a CA is opting for GST, he'll be sacrificing his dream to work in audits. Basically, CA is work in audit. So even if he's coming to indirect tax, it will be a niche field for him. Talking about lawyers, again, it is obviously a niche field. If I compare lawyers with the CAs, there is no difference.
I think there is an issue again with Sir's network.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm really sorry about my connection.
It's
Uh,
completely fine, sir.
so obviously GST is a niche field, but there is no disadvantage for a lawyer. Okay. As I said that it's more than just numbers. There is a lots of interpretation that is required in taxation. Okay. And we can always capitalize on that front.
Right, sir. So, coming on to the very next question, sir. Is there any government exams related to the taxation which paves the way for government jobs for the person opting for taxation?
See, right now, like there are no significant exams like which a law student would want to prefer, but there are discussions on the front that the tax tribunals should be handled by tax professionals. What they are really looking at is that they can probably ask good tax professionals from the other states to practice in that particular state, so there is no conflict of interest also, and it serves justice in a better manner because a normal judge would not be able to appreciate the tax law as much as a tax professional would appreciate. So there are discussions around the corner regarding tribunals being managed by tax professionals, and if everything goes fine, we can see in next 3 4 years that tax professionals are being asked to join tribunals, tax tribunals.
All right, sir. So, sir, coming on to the last question of our session today. Uh, According to you, sir, what are the essential tips that you want to give to the viewers in order to secure good law firms, good taxation law firms, and secure a good career in taxation law if they want to be?
Okay, specifically in taxation law,
Yes, sir.
my answer
And
would be a
sir,
mix of.
regarding, sorry for interrupting, sir, not specifically in taxation law, sir, but sir, in order to secure a good career in law, sir, what are the essential tips that you want to give? Keeping in mind that taxation law is also uh,
Okay,
a niche for many people.
okay. So like this question is so generic that I can probably spend hours in explaining the entire thing. Okay, what I really understand is that ki, see, always remember this one line that my administrative law teacher used to tell me. He used to tell us that law can never be taught. Okay, you can never teach law to someone. So he used to say that law is never taught; it is caught, right? So whatever you are doing, whatever, even if you are reading any particular case law, let's say you are reading Maneka Gandhi or Bachchan Singh, okay, or any other good case, okay, whatever, even if you are reading just a page on law in a day, always try applying that to your real life. Always ask questions that how is this relevant from that perspective. Even if you are a law student, always think that what are the possible things that that can generate me work tomorrow. Okay, so always try to look that from a practical perspective. Always seek questions. Always always try to apply mind to any legal provision, and that's how it becomes alive. And whatever you are doing, like even if you are working with a law firm or an advocate, okay, it will always help you because there are two skills that you'll be requiring. First is your applying your brain to any provision. Okay, that really goes a long way. Okay, and that really makes you look relevant and smart and uh, in front of your senior advocate or senior colleague. Okay, so even if you are reading about any boring law subject, always try to apply that law. Always look for the practical aspect that where that law can be applied. Okay, so this is one thing. Second, always try to sharpen your legal language. Okay, always try that whatever you are writing, even that can be a memo or that can be a simply a research paper. Always try in law school that whatever you are writing is very crisp, is logical, it's sequential, and it is making sense to the reader. Okay, so these are the qualities that you need to inculcate in yourself in being a good लॉयर, ठीक है. लॉ स्कूल और अच्छे लॉयर का कोई भी संबंध नहीं है. ये सारे संबंध काल्पनिक है. जो सिर्फ चीज चाहिए, दैट इज योर एप्लीकेशन, योर ब्रेन एप्लीकेशन, एंड हाउ गुड यू राइट. दीज आर द टू क्वालिटीज दैट विल पुट यू थ्रू. ठीक है. दिस इज द practical, sorry, this is the probably the academic part of it, the qualities that you require to become a good lawyer. Coming to what will take you to a good law firm, or what will practically make you a good lawyer, the answer is that start clearing your doubts, start having clarity in your mind, start taking decisions that are going to serve you. Okay. So see, the earlier you start, the earlier you'll achieve. Okay. Secondly, with more confusions that you live with, the more cumbersome, unproductive, undirectional your life will become. Okay. So always keep this in mind. Okay. Whatever you want to do in life, just the key is to start early. So that is about it. Regarding the taxation law, I've already discussed that what are the key qualities that it will take you to good law firms. If you are looking for a job in law firms, start getting good internships. Start working hard on your internships. Internship breaks are not summer holidays, or like it is not meant to be consumed in Goa or some hill station. You need to work really hard on your internships. You can chill a little in your college, that is absolutely fine, but once you are on field, you must be really dedicated, and you must be really committed to your work. That is the key. So those 10 months of internship throughout the 5 year, that will really shape your career, and that will really decide where you'll be going in life.
All right, sir. So with that, I think we have come up to the end of our session today. It was lovely talking to you, sir. Listening to your experiences and your suggestions and your opinions on certain issues as well was very insightful and was very helpful for many. I'm sure about that. It was lovely having you here, sir. Thanks a lot for coming here and accepting our invitation.
Thank you. Pleasure is all mine. Like, I love speaking to all the young law kids, like law students. And even after this session, if there is any doubt, or this might so happen that from the discussion you may come across certain further doubts. So in case there are any doubts, you can probably post to Hemant, or you can directly contact me over LinkedIn, uh, on my LinkedIn ID. So just try asking your questions, have clarity in your mind, and I'll do whatever I can do in my limited capacity to to bring some clarity to you. Okay. So just have clarity, start working towards your goal, and like, the good future is just outside your comfort zone.
Thanks a lot, sir. To the viewers, like sir has already mentioned that if you have any queries and if you want to ask any further questions related to taxation law, you can obviously contact sir on LinkedIn. You can get connected to him directly, or you can mail us at our mail IDs. So it was lovely having you all here. Thank you all for being so interactive with us today, and thank you, sir, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir.